Now, whenever I examine the sequel trilogy, I would definitely have to say that one of the most mysterious characters has got to be Supreme Leader Snoke. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, when we look at Episode 9, we do know that J.J. Abrams plans to really connect this movie to not only the prequels, but also the originals, as well as Star Wars Rebels, the EU/Legends, as well as other canon material under the Disney era of the Star Wars franchise. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film when it comes to some of the set leaks, the set designs, the concept art and storyboard descriptions, etc. One of which has all to do with Kylo Ren, Emperor Palpatine, and even Supreme Leader Snoke. Specifically, a description of Kylo Ren inside of an abandoned Imperial base, where it's described that Ren is holding a hologram of Emperor Palpatine. It's described to be a recording that dates back to the times of Palpatine's rule, during the originals. The next goes over a close-up of Kylo's face examining the hologram, where it's described that the Palpatine message is explaining of a dark presence that was felt in the unknown regions, that Palpatine had communicated with the presence at one point. It said that this was Supreme Leader Snoke, and that Snoke had once threatened Palpatine by calling in something far worse from the beyond. So I want to go over a couple of parts about this and as to why I believe this ties directly into what we went over just recently. Now, you guys may or may not have heard, but the Beyond is going to be a major part in this movie that's going to serve as a plot device that's going to make Kylo Ren feel vulnerable within the first and or the second act of the movie, or should I say the second and or third act of the film. So, with that being said, with Emperor Palpatine being a part of Episode 9 looming in the background, as well as Supreme Leader Snoke, you can see what J.J. Abrams is trying to do by connecting it to the past, where we actually get to learn more about the Beyond and what it really is, and what the danger of it really is in the story of Episode 9. So, we do know that from reading some of the books, and this does connect to some of the books, because we do know that J.J. Abrams is connecting it to some of the novels and stuff like that, is that in, I believe it was Aftermath or Empire's End, you do get to learn that Palpatine sensed a dark presence over in the unknown regions. Now, what's really intriguing is that this actually ends up being Supreme Leader Snoke, and that Snoke had once actually threatened Palpatine of calling in a threat from the Beyond. Now, this most definitely connects to what we heard not too long ago about Snoke in Episode 9 and his identity being somewhat connected to the new threat in Episode 9 from the Beyond. So when we look at Episode 9, we do know that J.J. Abrams wants to add in a lot of twists and turns in this movie, a lot of surprises that's really going to be very unexpected to the viewer, and to the point where we're going to look back at the originals and the sequel trilogy in a different way. So with that being said, what I really do like about Supreme Leader Snoke is, so far he's a very mysterious character that will be more explored in this story, and we will also be getting to learn a little bit more about Emperor Palpatine and his past. You know, we do know that Kylo Ren and his Knights of Ren are on a mission within the second act of the film. They go over to the Dark Spire and an abandoned Imperial base, where a lot of Sith and Jedi, relics and artifacts are going to be found. So, this new threat in Episode 9, a lot of people are starting to really, question themselves exactly who are they? Is it the Yuzong Vong? Is it something else entirely new that's going to enter into the Star Wars canon material? That's a big question open on the table for discussion. So, Palpatine actually sensing this dark presence that ended up being Emperor Palpatine, I think is brilliant. I think it's fascinating. I think it's a great way to expand off of some of the novels where you do get to learn that Palpatine actually felt this presence in the unknown regions. We also know that Snoke actually hid over in the unknown regions with his supremacy ship during the infancy of the First Order and while the First Order was growing. So you can really see, what JJ is trying to do in order to expand what was already told, partially in the books and the novels, as well as some of the comics and the novelizations out there. And that's one thing that I do like about Episode 9, is that it's really going to connect all things together, and is really going to be a movie that's going to gravitate towards a majority of the Star Wars fans on all different mediums of the franchise. So, like I say, when I look at Supreme Leader Snoke, when I look at Emperor Palpatine, those two figures, to see that they had, a bit of a grudge against each other at one point in time, kind of similar to what happened between both Snoke and Luke Skywalker. I don't know if you guys knew this, but if you read the novelization of Episode 8, you do get to learn that at one point in time, and it's implied, that they had a mental connection remotely, across the entire galaxy while they were seeking the truth of the Force, both Snoke and Luke Skywalker. So this is probably a similar situation here between Palpatine and Supreme Leader Snoke, way before the events of the sequel trilogy. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.